August is heating up with new games coming to all of the best subscription services, and we've got the rundown.
And some things are going down over at Warner Brothers Games. What does this mean for favorites like Mortal Kombat and Harry Potter? We'll get into all this and much more right now on Gaming News Weekly. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Gaming News Weekly, the best weekly video game news show out there. Every single Monday, we're bringing you all the biggest things happening in the video game industry. And you can find us on Fruit Lab, YouTube, and podcast services everywhere. My name is E-Rock the Red. As always, I am joined by this man right here. Full clip. What's the haps?
What's good? I'm doing all right. I'm proud to say this time I actually had some time to play a game. Now it's unfortunately one of our new releases, so I can't get into it until we start talking about it there.
Okay. All right. Well, that's exciting. I'm excited to chat about that with you. Yeah. Well, that's good that, because you're always working. Dude, you work 180 hours a week and lately, and you need a little me time, and I'm glad you got a little bit of that to play some games. Yeah, I didn't play as much this week as I have been previously either. As soon as Marvel Rivals beta ended, I was just lost, like a ship at sea, just nothing to do. I was so sad. But then I got a game that came out of early access called Knock on the Coffin Lid. Now this is it's a deck builder. I'm obsessed with the deck builders. You gotta play them all. And I got into this one thinking it was just going to be more of the same, just that kind of Slay the Spire thing, fantasy elements, and I was very, very wrong. This game is more like a role-playing game, but instead of combat, the combat is where the cards come in. It's a Slay the Spire style deck builder then. So it's got a full story, fully voice acted, reminiscent of The Witcher. There's different types of creatures out there, and there's vampires and trolls and stuff like that. But then there's this whole political side to it too. So there's so much. It's a very, very deep game with this crazy world building. That was my first takeaway. And like I said, fully voice acted, and it's done really well. And then you get into the actual gameplay, and you have this big map of these all these different things you have to learn and figure out as far as the cards in your deck and what does what. And it's not just another Slay the Spire. Even with the deck building, there's a whole bunch more new features that they don't have in the other deck builders. And immediately I was hooked. I was I just didn't want it to end. I just kept playing it. But the hook of this, what brings it back and makes it like that, a roguelike like all these deck builders are, is that, when you die, that's when they knock, this guy knocks on the coffin lid and you start over again. And that's when, that's kind of the whole premise. But one thing that's really cool about this that you don't find in the other games like this is that you can equip items and armor and that sort of thing. So as you're going, you're finding it either on the people you beat or in chests. So you gotta find a different sword, and they each do different things, or a helmet or armor or boots, all that stuff, an amulet. And if you get a full set, if you have 4 out of 5 of the set, it increases the power and stuff. So that's really cool. It adds a whole new different type of gameplay to it, where you're trying to find the right armor to match your cards and the way you want to play it. And then even a little icing on the cake, your character on the screen changes the way they look depending on what the equipment is and stuff they're wearing. I always like that. That's always a little pet peeve of mine when the character doesn't change when you change your outfit,
Yeah.
So, yeah, dude. I was very, very pleasantly surprised by this game. I didn't expect much. And I guess it's been in early access for like maybe a year and a half, and I was just not aware of it at all until it came out. So yeah, big fan. Anybody, if you're out there, fan of deck builders, fan of Slay the Spire, more so a fan of fantasy role playing games, fantastic game.
Nice. You playing that on the Steam Deck?
I am, and so it's not even like it doesn't have gamepad controls or it's not Steam Deck verified, but it's not high action. I'm using the touch screen. I'm using some of the the left right bindings and stuff like that here and there, but it works fine once they get the gamepad or Steam Deck playability. I'm sure it's going to even be much more enjoyable. But right now, yeah, it works fine for what you need to do with it. So
nice. Glad to hear
it looks great.
Glad to hear there's some room for some innovation still left in that genre, because it's like battle royales. Everything starts to feel like a copy of the other thing and stale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and since like Balatro came out, that innovated big time on the whole thing, and now we're getting more. Like there was another casino one that just came out the other day. I added it to my wish list. I haven't played it. I got a review copy for a Yahtzee deck builder type thing, where instead of like it's kind of like Balatro, where you're trying to get pair. Basically Yahtzee. You get the full house, the pairs, the three of a kind. But then there's different things you pick up and abilities. So that I don't even remember what it's called. But I'll talk about that next week. I only got to play maybe about an hour of it, but yeah, I love this. The problem with these games, though, this style of game, is that you're not going through and playing a story and finishing the game. Each one of these games, you could easily pour hundreds of hours into them,
Yeah.
But I love this style of game. So I get a new one, I play it for maybe, 10, 20, 30 hours, and I'm not even close to doing everything I can in it, and I really enjoy it. But then another one comes along, and I move to that one because there is no story to finish. There's no game to finish. But yeah, it's good stuff. All right, should we get into our new releases? I want to hear about this game that you played.
Oh yeah, let's get into it.
All right, let's talk about our new releases from last week. All right, first up, Creatures of Ava came out on August 7th on PC and Xbox. This is from the publisher 11-Bit Studios, who I've really been enjoying their stuff. I did the Dread XP publisher showcase last week. This time they did the Thaumaturge, Indica, both great games that I had a blast playing. So I was excited when this one, when they were putting this one out. But it's an adventure game set in this beautiful world with all these cool characters, and you got to like tame these beasts and use them to move through the world, solve puzzles, and that sort of thing. Is this the game? Is this the game you've been playing?
Yes, it is. Thanks to somebody who sent me their extra review copy. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So yeah, we both got copies of it. I got maybe like 3 hours into it. I was playing with my son. He was really excited once I showed him the trailer because he loves these type of games, And this is the perfect game for him because like it's real chill, right?
Right.
Like I didn't know what to expect getting in, but there's no combat. It's all just about exploration, and like every once in a while you find these creatures that are, whatever, they're inflicted with this whatever is making the world of Ava bad, and you have to, whatever, fix them.
Cleanse the world. Yeah.
But you just use like a beam, and then you try to avoid their contact.
Right. It's almost more puzzle heavy than it is like creature capturing heavy. When I heard that it was a creature capture, whatever we're calling this genre, I'm thinking like it's going to be another Pokemon clone. It's going to be playing off the success of Pal World. I wouldn't call it that. And it almost seems like this is your Pal World for kids who aren't allowed to play T-rated games and higher. It's definitely like it's interesting though to go from like one extreme to the other. You can stand around in this game and not worry about your character like being attacked and stuff. And I caught myself like feeling like I better save and I better back out. And I'm like, no, I can go get a drink. Nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can just chill out there. Yeah, what I like about it is that it has the creatures in it, the monsters that you need to tame and befriend. But it's not like a clone of like a Pokemon. There's or even like a Palworld. There's no, no resource collecting. There's no need to really, get any of these guys. I mean, they help you along the way, but you just kind of go through like one. So basically, you get the sickness off of one of them, you can then tame them, and then you have the ability to like go into their mind and use them to like do things like to solve puzzles or clear a path or whatever like that. So yeah, like you said, it's more about using the creatures to solve the puzzles. The game is a lot more linear than anything because you're only allowed to go certain paths that are open to you or that you can open using creatures. It's kind of a Metroidvania style gameplay, and that like then you have to go, find other different types of creatures that are going to allow you to have access to this other area. So, what are your thoughts so far?
I've been enjoying it. I was trying to sneak some in before we went to filming today, but I didn't get the chance. But I mean, that says a lot when it comes to these games that we review. Some of them I touch long enough to make a video and get an impression of, and then never touch it again. This one at least has me feeling like I want to come back to it. There are like a little bit of resource collecting, a little bit of crafting, but it's very basic. You're just basically making health for yourself.
Health kits,
And it's got a lot of things that work well for it. It's got a little bit of Ocarina of Time in there. That's part of the monster taming. You make them trust you by playing like their song, and you have to mimic back what they're playing at you.
Yeah, I like the flute thing. I think that's it was a fun little addition to that. Yeah. And then it gets deeper, like because there is like as you explore you gain XP, and then you have this big skill tree where you could upgrade your abilities to make things a little bit easier to play. So yeah, it's not just like we said, like you said, you could just leave it laying around. That's just because there's no combat, but it's not just a puzzle game. It does get deep. All the characters in the world are super cool. Like I think the whatever those non-moves or whatever.
Yeah,
they're like fully like I don't know. They're weird characters. All the characters in the game are really cool, including the creatures that you find. I think one of the best parts of the game is how beautiful the world is. Like it's very colorful, and yeah, it has this blight that you're trying to cure as you go through. So, yeah, and it's on Game Pass too. So if you are a subscriber to Game Pass, it was a day one game over there. You could go check it out, and I definitely think it's worth checking out. I'm not sure how long of a game it is. I can't imagine it's too long.
I've probably played for 2 to 3 hours, and according to my save file, I'm like 10% through the story.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, there's different quests and stuff like that as you go through. It's definitely a game that my son we played it. I played it on the Steam Deck when we first got the review copy, and then he restarted it on Xbox through the Game Pass. So he's played through the first few hours a couple of times. So he's enjoying it. He likes seeing what creatures it's going to run into next. So I think that's a thumbs up from both of us here. All right, next up, SteamWorld Heist 2 came out August 8th on all the consoles, basically. This is a sequel to SteamWorld Heist, new game in the whole SteamWorld world of games. This one is the turn-based gunfighting game. Did you ever play the first one?
Not this one. I played things in the SteamWorld world, but not Heist. Okay.
Yeah, I played Heist. It was one of the first games I got for my Steam Deck when it came out because it was like, I think it was on sale for like $2. And it's a great game. It's so basically it's you go back and forth and you have these robots in the world and you have to bounce bullets off of things to clear the area, and each robot has different abilities, different guns, and this one just is more of that. But now like the robots have there's like a job system. You could customize them all. There's over 150 different items and things you could get along the way. And one thing this one adds that the previous one did not have, real-time naval combat. So exciting, right?
Yeah. Yeah, did you ever play like the Flash games that were this back in the day?
No, I never did. I got into. I remember playing. What was like the first Steam World game? Dig?
Dig, I
No,
think.
I don't know. Yeah, I remember playing one on PlayStation. I don't know. I mean, this was years and years ago, and that was like my first entry into the thing, and I didn't even know it was like a whole thing.
Yeah.
But as they've been coming out, they've been getting better and better. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. I like seeing what they're going to come out with next. All right, and then next up, Cat Quest 3 also came out on August 8th on all the consoles. This is the the trilogy has been completed in the Cat Quest world. This is a 2.5D open world action role playing game. It's set in this pirate world, and you just you go through and it's like you're fighting other things. You're a cat. There's a lot of cat puns throughout.
And it also has that real-time naval battle.
I was just gonna say, dude, this is a big thing. We're seeing this a lot lately. Naval combat. It's a new thing, new feature. But yeah, this one, just a basic role playing game. You go around, you get different loot, armor, weapons. You got melee combat. There's spells or guns, and and like I said, lots of cat puns. You're in the Peribian, and you're a perrat. I don't know.
They're trying a little too hard on this.
Yeah. Every review I've seen is pretty positive. It's at an 83 on Metacritic right now. They're saying it's the best of the Cat Quest series. So I'll check them out. The first two are like dirt cheap regularly. So we'll give them a shot. All right, and that's it for our new releases from this past week. And it's time to talk about news. News of the week. All right, first thing, let's kick things off with our subscription service update as we do around this time every month. First up, we got Game Pass. The Wave 1 lineup for August was announced. Creatures of Ava, we did already mention. Mafia Definitive Edition and Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy are all featured this month. And also Doom and Doom 2 was added when that just kind of shadow dropped. It's like a remaster of the first two games. And that is now also available on Game Pass. I also wanted to try the Mafia games, and I think the Definitive Edition is where I start.
Yeah,
I never played
a good way to do it. I don't know. It's a weird series. I've not played them, but my brother-in-law was showing me like some side-by-side stuff of how 1 and 2 in some ways had more detail than 3, and it's like a step back. So I don't know.
Yeah, I've always been into like The Godfather and Goodfellas and that sort of stuff, and I was like, man, this game is literally called Mafia. I've never played it, so maybe we'll check it out. All right, then over on the PlayStation side, for August, the PlayStation Plus is getting the Lego Star Wars, the whole, what is it called? The Skywalker Saga. That's 9 Star Wars films in Lego form. Oof. It's a meaty package. Five Nights at Freddy's, Security Breach, and Ender Lily's Quietus of the Nights. It's like a Metroidvania RPG style game. So, it's fine. Both of these months are fine.
Yeah,
nothing blowing me away. But
it's
fan
pretty
of
on
Star
par.
Wars or Lego, right?
Yeah. I would say it's kind of on par for the PlayStation releases, but this feels a little light from Xbox.
Yeah, it does. And it was surprising. Usually, 3 titles. One of them is a day one game, sure. But, I don't know. And then the humble choice for this month comes out at the beginning of the month, every month. For $12, you can get Sifu, High on Life, Gotham Knights, Blacktail, Astral Ascent, Diluvian Ultra, Universe for sale, and this means Warp. So that is quite the value. Over $240 in games for $12. And some bangers in there too. Like Sifu, I bought and never finished that. So I'm excited to have that on the Steam Deck. It's going to be the perfect game for that because it's all just repetitive. Like you're going through and you got to just keep doing it until you figure out you have the muscle memory to get through a section. High on Life is another one that I started on Game Pass and enjoyed it. Never continued it. Gotham Knights, I still haven't checked that out. Blacktail, it's like a archery role-playing game. You go through and you shoot stuff with arrows. Astral Ascent, that's the first one out of this bunch that I'm gonna try. They're saying it's like one of the best roguelikes out there, and it looks really, really cool. It's real simple. And then, yeah, I don't really know much about the other ones, but they are also there. So, yeah, $12 for all those games. It's a good month.
Yeah, I think I'm getting it this month, mostly for High on Life. I've always wanted to play it, just never found a good time to pull the trigger on it. Sifu, I think you've told me how good that game is in the past, so I'd like to try it out. And then Gotham Knights, that probably didn't get reviewed great. These, superhero games haven't been doing that well recently, I guess. But it's still like a AAA game, right? It was probably $60 or $70, so.
And I think the consensus I hear is that for full price, not a great game. But if you're getting it as part of a $12 bundle, I think you'll probably enjoy overall quality of it. So, I think it's definitely a great month. I actually, towards the end of July, I got like a charge to my PayPal, and I'm like, what is this? I forgot to cancel last month, and I absolutely did not want any of those games. So now I'm like stuck with these games that, like, not a single one of them. No, I didn't want any of them, and now I got those. So that's the problem with this service, is that you got to make sure to, and they even offer if you cancel it, you'll get emails like saying, "You sure you don't want it for $8? Here, get it for $8." And so that's an option too. But
well, I mean, you've always got the that Reddit where you can trade the keys, so you can find something that you like for those.
Exactly. I already traded a couple. I got RoboQuest, which is it's like I don't know. It's kind of like a Borderlands meets I don't know. It's hard to explain. So yeah, I'm trading. I'm making deals.
Gotcha.
But yeah, great month for Humble Choice. All right, let's get into our news here. After the most recent revenue call with Warner Brothers Discovery, them talking about video game, the revenue that they've been really losing. They're down 41% for the video game section since last year. There have been some kind of, rumors of what they're going to do. And initially they talked about, we heard rumors that they're going to start like piecemeal selling off the different developers that they have under the Warner Brothers umbrella. But we're getting more info about what they're planning on doing, and it's a little bit more interesting. So they are now talking about licensing the IP out to other developers to try to capitalize on their very, very popular IP. They got, Harry Potter. They've got the Mortal Kombat games, DC Universe games, like all these things that they could be making big bucks off of. And now they saw, Hogwarts Legacy 2 years ago was their biggest game yet. And then the next year, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League basically also killed Warner Brothers Video Games they had a $200 million loss just from that game alone. So they were in a tough spot. So I think this idea of, kind of licensing out the IP is I think it's a win. I think they could, do some great things here. We could see some good games. So what do you think?
I was really surprised that this wasn't already the case. Thinking back of like all the games that have WB properties in them, and all of those studios are working directly under them. None of it's licensed out. That seems strange, but
Yeah,
I don't know. Like if they can't get it done themselves, give it to somebody who can, because I think there are a lot of properties in there that we want to see like
absolutely.
great games made of, and
Yeah.
lately they've been dropping the ball.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it with the Marvel and Star Wars games, and we've gotten some great games out of those, those IPs. So I think they could absolutely do it and save a lot of money in the process. Now, it was interesting when I was initially reading that they were going to be, selling these studios, because we just 2 weeks ago we just talked about them buying Player First Games, the studio behind Multiverses. Yeah, so they did go into how they want, even have a special focus on the free-to-play games as well. So it kind of makes sense with them buying Player First Games. It's always so funny when you hear these CEOs and the corporations talking about, listen, we're going to focus on these free-to-play games, because that, like it's all just the money. They're like, wait a minute. It's like we could, like, they look at all these other free-to-play games making millions and millions of dollars, and like, we could do that too. Let's do that, and then they end up making trash. But we'll see. One to end this, I have a quote from David Zaslav. He says, "We have 11 studios here, and we have a lot of IP, and there's also a lot of interest among others in coming to take advantage of some of that IP for gaming, which we're looking at. We need to get bigger, and the IP that we own and the value that it has in the gaming space is something we're looking to take advantage of." So absolutely, I think they should. I think it's a good move, and it would give us more Harry Potter games, more, DC Universe games. And those are just two of like the bigger IP that they have. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I think keep NetherRealm doing Mortal Kombat. They've been doing great jobs with the Mortal Kombat games over there. So
Yeah.
Unless they wanted to make like a different style of Mortal Kombat game, do like a MOBA, a Mortal Kombat MOBA, I'd be down for that.
The dating sim we've always wanted.
Yes. Oh my God, what a great idea. All right, next up, Meta has shut down developer Ready at Dawn. I wasn't even familiar too much with what Ready at Dawn was doing, because they've only been doing VR games. They've been working on this Echo series for VR. I'm familiar with them from back when they used to do PlayStation games. They did like The Order and some God of War games and stuff. And then they were just gone. And I had realized after reading this article that, they were bought by Meta in 2020, and they've just been doing Oculus games. So for me, not a terrible loss. For everybody there, I'm, sad news. Sorry that happened. And basically it was, they said that it was just so that they could stay on target with their new budget restrictions, and deliver better long-term impact. So it didn't even seem like it's like a dire thing where they're like, hey, we're going under. Let's, try to right this sinking ship. They're just like,
right.
You're not in our budget anymore.
Right. I'm sure this is a decision that goes back a little ways, but also we had that big crash in the stock market focusing on tech, I guess, a couple weeks ago, and I heard that a big driving factor in it is the AI bubble kind of bursting. And I think that goes in with the metaverse bubble, because Meta, when they rebranded from Facebook, bought Oculus, they were 100% invested into this idea of a metaverse.
Yep.
And it's just like their version of it just kind of sucks is the problem.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they never would have bought Oculus.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think they were Oculus was doing great things before that. And then Meta, like, I knew when they bought it, and like, you had to have a Facebook account in order to use it. And it was like this whole thing, like everything that they touch is just, it's weird, man. It's all just to get our data and like whatever. But Meta, they've been losing a lot of money between the AI stuff and the metaverse and stuff. Yeah, it's they still have a lot of money, but they've been losing a lot too. So we'll see how this shakes out. All right, and then last up, Dead by Daylight is still going strong, man. Like, I keep I don't know. I don't keep expecting all these big announcements, but most recently they had a 2v8 mode that people have been asking for. 2 killers, 8 survivors out there. Trying to spice things up, keep it going over there. And then most recently, an announcement that Castlevania will be being added to the game, is with Dracula as one of the killers and Trevor Belmont as a survivor. So that's pretty cool. And then they kind of teased an announcement saying that there's a Five Nights at Freddy's collaboration with Dead by Daylight. No info other than they just, a little tease saying summer 2025. So I don't know if that's going to be, I'm assuming we're going to have the robots from Five Nights at Freddy's in the Dead by Daylight world, but it could go the other way too, have a Dead by Daylight Five Nights at Freddy's game. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it still surprises me that, it makes a perfect combination. Yeah. So, but yeah, years later, they're still crushing it.
Dead by Daylight, I am surprised by the staying power of this game, because
I know
I haven't played it in a hot minute, but I know you talk about it a lot and play it with your friends. And a lot of I don't work with kids, but pretty close to kids. They're still playing it. That's what they're talking about.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty crazy. My friend wanted to play it this weekend, and I'm like, I don't feel like it. There's so much when you go for long periods of time without playing it, I'm like, I don't know what's happening in this world anymore. I go in, there's 6 new killers attacking me, and I'm just like, I don't know what their abilities are, what I should be doing. But it is one that it's fun to just chill out and have some drinks and just run around and get scared. So it's a well-made game.
You probably need an encyclopedic knowledge with all the DLC that's come to that game.
Man, there's so much. I was just saying that they should offer some sort of a service or a package where you could buy either a subscription that you could have there's so much content, and I've never gotten to try most of the killers because it's I'm cheap. So give me or at least give us some trickle out some of the older ones. But I get the people that paid money would be, they'd be upset that they paid for it and then they're giving it out for free. But yeah, there's so many out there. And I feel like a lot of them that are really well made don't get the playtime just because, people, you need to buy them. So I do want the Nicolas Cage Survivor pack. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But Dracula would be a lot of fun to play as a killer too. I'm sure, turn to bats and stuff like that. So good stuff. All right. We got that's it for us. It's a short week. Not much happening in the industry. I did see I didn't include it, and I figured maybe we could talk about it next week. But Splitgate, I saw they put out a video of the actual gameplay, and it looks cool. Check that out. I just saw it as we were preparing, and I was like, "Ooh, next week we'll talk about that." But it looks interesting. So that's your homework for next week. Check out that trailer of the gameplay. Right. You got anything else?
Yeah. Your punishment
for
next week. Let's watch the Borderlands movie.
Oh no! Yes, I did want to talk about that. Good. Thanks for bringing that up. I'm so sad. I mean, I didn't expect it to be a work of art, but I expected more than how awful they're saying it is.
Yeah, a 2 or 3% on Rotten Tomatoes, the lowest score ever, pretty much.
Crazy. That cast is insane too.
Right.
I don't know.
How could you go wrong?
Yeah. Yes, dude. I don't know, but I'm I think I'm even more excited to see it now that it's getting so critically panned that than I was before. I was indifferent before. I was like, this will be cool. It'll be fun. I'm not going to go to see it, but I'll watch it when it comes out. Now I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to see this because how it's got to be terrible. So yeah, that's it's very unfortunate. And we were having such a good streak with the video game adaptations.
Yeah,
but more the norm as far as those go. But more so TV shows. Arcane season 2 coming out real soon, so that'll bring it back. And then The Last of Us season 2, they had a teaser trailer recently. So yeah, we'll bring it back around. It'll be good again.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for checking out this episode of Gaming News Weekly. Make sure you go over to YouTube, Pop Culture Playground. It's where you'll find this show, among other things. Subscribe there, like, watch everything. Do that. And while you're on YouTube, go to GameFAQs, GameFAQs, where Full Clip posts some of his game content. And anywhere podcasts are found, you can find us. Just go to your favorite podcast provider, type in GNW, and you'll see Gaming News Weekly there. Hit subscribe, and every Monday you'll have this ready to listen to on your commute or at the gym. You know, whatever gets you more excited, because we want you excited. And then find us on TikTok, posting clips and talking about gaming news on the reg. And that's all. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. I'm going to play more Knock on This Coffin Lid, because ever since I was talking about it earlier, I'm like, oh, I'm excited. So you go play some more games before you have. We did a quick show, so you got time before you got to go to work. So, all right. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.